Imagine you're Jeff. Jeff thought today would be normal. Wake up, maybe microwave a burrito. Instead, he's standing knee-deep in ash, surrounded by men with top knots and swords longer than his attention span. Welcome to Feudal Japan, circa 1467. The air smells like burning rice fields and unresolved trauma, and Jeff has no idea what the hell is going on. This is the Sengoku Period, which roughly translates to let's all kill each other and see what happens. Central government, gone. Law enforcement, a guy with a stick and trust issues. Jeff's survival odds, lower than a paper umbrella in a monsoon. Let's talk about what kicked off this whole mess. Japan's military overlord, the Ashikaga shogun, got bored of ruling and decided he'd rather write haikus than handle politics. So he names his monk brother the next shogun. Calm guy, peaceful, big, let's all just chill energy. The plot twist, Shogun's wife suddenly pops out a baby boy, which means now there are two heirs. Team Monk versus Team Baby, and everyone picks a side. Literally everyone. So now it's every warlord for himself, and Jeff, he's been dropping right outside Kyoto. Once a shimmering hub of cherry blossoms and tea ceremonies, now it's Mad Max with better calligraphy. To survive, Jeff has to learn the rules, and by rules we mean Japan's most violent MLM, the feudal class system. It's like a pyramid scheme, but with more words. Let's break it down. Emperor, top of the pyramid, worshipped like a god, about as politically powerful as a decorative spoon, basically the Pope in silk. Shogun, theoretical ruler, actually MIA, probably writing sad haikus in a cave. Daimyo, local warlords with real power and real paranoia. Think CEOs with swords and trust issues. Samurai, stylish, deadly, and more dramatic than theater kids. Offend anyone? You're now a lesson in humility and swordsmanship. Ronin, masterless samurai. Some are noble, most are stab-happy freelancers with emotional baggage. Ashigaru, peasant soldiers, have a spear, a dream, and definitely no dental plan. Peasants, 80% of the population. Grow the food, pay the taxes, die in obscurity. Rinse, repeat. Artisans actually make useful stuff. Get treated like set dressing. Merchants, rich but socially despised. Basically the crypto bros of medieval Japan. Outcasts, butchers, gravediggers, beggars, and YouTube reactors. No, really. And if you're a foreigner, especially non-Asian like Jeff, congrats, you just hit rock bottom. Best case scenario, you're a curiosity. Worst case, you're lunch for a paranoid warlord who thinks demons are real, and Jeff looks very demon adjacent right now. Statistically, Jeff doesn't land as a samurai or merchant. Nope, he spawns as a peasant. He's now part of the 80% majority whose job is to feed everyone else and die quietly. His house, a flammable box made of sadness and termites. Room count 1. Amenities, a hole in the roof, 2 chickens, and seasonal dysentery. He wakes up before dawn, drags his frostbitten toes into the rice paddies, and toils under a tax rate that would make a Wall Street banker cry. Jeff's diet? Maybe miso soup if it's a good day. Actual rice is luxury food. That gets carted off to the warlord's castle, because nothing says feudal justice like working 14 hours to grow food you're not allowed to eat. Sick? Too bad. Smallpox, dysentery, and something called beriberi, which sounds cute, but definitely kills you. If Jeff makes it to 40, he's either a legend or hallucinating. But then, plot twist. Jeff survives a bandit ambush because the attacker slipped on a mossy rock and impaled himself on a rake. Classic Jeff luck. Jeff strips him down, takes his spear, throws on whatever armorish cloth he's got left, and walks confidently toward the nearest army camp like he totally belongs there. Jeff's officially leveled up, from dirt poor farmer to heavily armed tax deduction. But let's not throw a parade. All he's really done is swap his shovel for a spear, his hay for chainmail, and his slow muddy death for a faster flaming one. Congrats, Jeff, you're now flammable with benefits. His starter pack includes Yari, pointy stick of justice, a shirt that doubles as armor and a towel, 0 training, and a roommate with lice and PTSD. Jeff is now a foot soldier in a war he doesn't understand, working for a daimyo who's 80% paranoia, 20% sword collection. Training, more like don't stab your friend and die in the mud. Meals, dried rice balls, and whatever the rats didn't finish. Entertainment, watching the camp medic pull arrows out of people without anesthesia. Pro tip: for Jeff, looting corpses isn't just survival, it's a career development plan. Helmet: if it fits and isn't still attached to someone, it's his. Boots: Jeff's toes haven't known luxury like this since, well, ever. Scroll on the ground, he grabs it, only to realize it's a limited time offer for cursed armor polish. Figures. In Sengoku Japan, Jeff's entire fashion sense is sponsored by the recently deceased. He gets assigned to a samurai who looks like he hasn't slept since the last famine. The man squints at Jeff, sighs like someone who's seen too much and mutters, "Close enough." And just like that, Jeff is inducted into Ashigaru Boot Camp. A place with no training montage, no welcome packet, and zero HR oversight. And just pain, yelling, and a steady diet of pickled radish and regret. Jeff's daily schedule looks like this: wake-up call, shouting, drums, or someone screaming fire, sometimes all three. Breakfast: one dried rice ball, maybe miso soup if the quartermaster hasn't sold it to the local bandits for gambling money. Training: learn how not to stab your own guys with a spear. Spoiler, Jeff is still learning. Digging detail: could be a trench, could be a latrine, could be your own grave, don't ask. Guard duty: stand still for hours while a Ronin makes soul-piercing eye contact and slowly eats a plum. It's unsettling. Camp chores: haul water, fix broken armor with a string and hope, build barricades that might stop a squirrel, but definitely not arrows. And if Jess messes up, he might get slapped, reassigned to arrow catcher, or sent on the worst gig in history: messenger duty. Fun fact: in Sengoku Japan, delivering a message had a 60% survival rate. Jeff does not like those odds. Then comes the mission. Jeff and two other soon-to-be statistics are told to infiltrate an enemy Yamana camp. Stealth mission: high stakes, zero planning. They're tiptoeing through brush, arguing over which scroll is the important one, when Jeff grabs one at random. It's not a battle plan, it's not even written in Japanese. It's an ad for his car's extended warranty, a joke so cursed it transcends time and culture. He panics, drops it, picks up another scroll, and then the tent catches fire. It wasn't Jeff, probably. Battle erupts. The samurai mentor, the one who adopted him via squint and shrug, immediately decapitated by a guy with a shinier helmet and better work-life balance. Jeff turns to see his old buddy Hosey sprinting the other direction, yelling something about better food and less yelling on the enemy side. Jeff looks at the chaos: flaming tents, screaming men, arrows flying like confetti at a war-themed birthday party, and makes the only logical decision. He switches sides. Welcome to Sengoku War Strategy 101. Loyalty is optional, survival is not. And somehow Jeff lives, which by Sengoku Japan standards, that's promotion. But let's say Jeff didn't respawn as a rice-farming peasant or spear-fumbling Ashigari. Let's say he showed up as himself, a 21st century suburban man-child armed with Google knowledge, seasonal allergies, and a phone that stopped working the second it hit the year 1467. He doesn't speak Japanese, he doesn't bow correctly, he once called sake rice beer. To the average villager, Jeff is either a Portuguese pirate, a walking omen, or a mildly threatening demon who smells like Axe body spray and eats food out of crinkly wrappers. The locals haven't seen a white guy before, especially not one in Nikes holding an empty bottle of Gatorade and asking where the nearest Wi-Fi is. Unless Jeff rolls in with a working musket, probably one he can explain, revolutionary medical skills, like knowing what bacteria is, or a samurai sugar daddy willing to vouch for his not being a ghost status. Jeff is screwed. Best case scenario, they shove him in a shack, feed him boiled weeds, and parade him around as their strange, unpredictable pet barbarian. Worst case, someone calls the local shrine priest, the villagers from a torchlit committee, and Jeff gets ceremonially disemboweled for possibly cursing the river. Why? Because in Sengoku-era logic, if crop fails or someone stubs a toe, and you just happen to look like a demon who wandered out of the forest dressed in space fabrics, you must be responsible. Even if Jeff tries to explain, pulling out a flashlight, showing them a photo of a cat on his cracked iPhone, they'll just assume he's casting spells. He might accidentally start a new religion, or a war, or both. And no, explaining what Instagram is won't help. So, could you survive feudal Japan? If you're clever, quiet, and fully prepared to embrace a life of cold porridge, constant bowing, and random acts of violence, then maybe. Maybe. If you're loud, pale, and allergic to gluten, not a chance. You'll be the first thing sacrificed when the harvest goes sideways. To make it through, you'd need the stamina of a warhorse, the stealth of a ninja who skipped leg day, and the inner peace of a Buddhist monk on ketamine. Calm, unbothered, and mildly dissociating through every sword fight. You'll need to bow to everything with a pulse, eat roots without complaining, and sleep with one eye open because betrayal, bandits, and bubonic plague are all having a three-way behind your hut. And if you do survive, if you dodge the arrows, sidestep the backstabbing, survive smallpox, famine, flaming tents, and at least 3 near executions, if you somehow live long enough to die in your bed instead of a muddy battlefield, then congrats, you didn't just survive, you ascended. You're a ghost story, a folk legend, a cautionary tale with great cheekbones. Jeff, on the other hand, he's currently barefoot, sprinting across a battlefield, carrying a spear upside down and wearing a helmet 2 sizes too small, probably stolen from a child or a dog. He just tripped over the burning flag, screamed "I'm friendly" in English, and is now being chased by someone with dual swords and no chill. Pray for Jeff. Drop a comment. Would you be a sneaky Ashigaru, a cunning merchant, or just run for the hills? We'll see you next time, if you survive.